Hello. It's not been a great week for me and for, in fact, anyone in Delhi. The reason is very simple. If I open the AQI calendar of the month, it's literally in the red. Look at what it says on the government's own app. Air quality is very poor and can cause respiratory illness on prolonged exposure. So imagine that. For the 2 crore people who live in our capital city, the hovering around 400 AQI on all days this month has probably played havoc with our organs, and there was nothing we could do about it. I say this because I know my privilege. I have a car, I have air purifiers at home, and my kid has a computer so he can log on to classes during bad air days. But when I talk to people around me, then it's unimaginable the kind of destruction the pollution is causing. For example, a woman who works in someone's home told me that her class 5 going daughter has to stay at home alone while she goes to work. She has to leave her phone with her so that she can log on to classes, but the network is very patchy, and the 10-year-old, when parents are away, gets distracted and doesn't pay attention to learning as much. So the pollution is not just doing long-term damage to her lungs and body like all of us, it's also stunting her mind since she isn't learning for the 2 weeks that school's gone online. So the question on my mind is, why is everyone, our lawmakers, law enforcers, and our courts letting us down on pollution? First up, how are lawmakers letting us down? For starters, and I can't even get my head around this, they did not discuss pollution in Parliament. It's an issue that is impacting not just Delhi, but Mumbai, Kolkata, and so many of our cities. But obviously, it's not considered something that is a vote getter. You can watch the video I did on this a few weeks ago. So let's look at what the Parliament did discuss over the 15 days that the Parliament ran. They discussed new bills like Ji Ram Ji, Shanti, Sabka Bima, Sabki Raksha, and very strangely, they spent more than 2 days in each house discussing the politics of Vande Mataram song. Yes, it's indeed our national song, and it is 150 years since it came into our consciousness, but how does it change our lives? Only in a very esoteric way, right? But it's something that our MPs can have a good fight about who's more patriotic, and hence it got such a starring role in their agenda. Now, the government claims that they did want a discussion on pollution, and it's the opposition which obstructed it. But why was it slotted for the last day? Why was it meant to happen only for a few hours? These are questions that we don't really have an answer for. The opposition says it's all the government's fault, and in some ways, because the government runs the house, it may be true. However, they are not above accountability in this. How? It's true that the leader of the opposition, Rahul Gandhi, was the one who said last Friday that there should be a discussion on pollution in Parliament. But guess what? By Monday, when he could have again nudged or pushed the government to have that discussion and for a longer time, he left for Germany. The Congress party will tell you that the Prime Minister was also travelling. However, Gandhi now is responsible not just for raising his own party's concerns, but that of all other parties. And so, if he didn't care enough to stay and push the government to have that pollution discussion, to ask them questions, the blame lies with him too. And so here we are. Parliament session has ended and government is calling out Congress. Congress is calling it a pollution session and not a winter session. But we, the people, are let down by our representatives who won't raise the biggest problem that we face right now. Second, how are our courts letting us down? If we think about how the Supreme Court forced the government to switch to the cleaner CNG, they mandated that all public transport, buses, taxis and auto rickshaws switch from diesel to compressed natural gas or CNG by 2001. And while there was government pushback, air quality improved. But since then, the courts have flip-flopped. They gave all kinds of orders, but follow-ups have been missing or courts have gone back. Firecrackers are a classic flip-flop. Banned in 2016, partially allowed as green in 2018, and then this Diwali, of course, they were back again, and we had green crackers being sold. Those smoke towers were installed at a huge cost, but later studies by the Delhi Pollution Control Committee called them ineffective, a waste of money, and a questionable order without solid science. GRAP and odd even sound good on paper, but they've been criticized as ad hoc and ineffective due to poor public transport and exemptions. The court's interventions are cyclical, ramping up in winter pollution peaks, then again going dormant till the next crisis. I mean, think about it. The construction ban that is supposed to be on during polluted days is a bit of a joke, isn't it? That's why earlier this month, the Supreme Court slammed pollution measures as a total failure, refused to interfere with school closures, and modified its own order to allow action against older BS3 vehicles. It even said farmers can't be scapegoats and that orders can't be forcibly enforced, admitting its own limits, no magic wand to fix this. This back and forth shows judicial overreach clashing with enforcement realities. Environment Minister Bhupendra Yadav has now cracked the whip and he wants to see improvement in all this in just a week's time. Mr. Yadav is acknowledged even by his critics in the opposition as a man who gets things done. So hopefully this will become his top priority and we'll finally see things changing. But I want to leave you with a final culprit in all this. All of us. One of the reasons why pollution doesn't make it on top of the national or political agenda is because we as citizens don't demand enough of our lawmakers. It's we the people who have to do this. Force them into having this discussion or taking action using innovative ways. So yes, if you care, show that you care, and may the force be with you and us. Till next time, goodbye.
$25 करोड़ गरीब गरीबी को परास्त करके बाहर निकले.
For the good of our nation, let's work together and let's truly make America great again.
The fastest news breaks.
Requested PM saying that look, you will have to speak to Putin and to Zelensky.
The biggest news makers.
The relationship with India is probably the most important bilateral relationship the US will have for the rest of this century.
The capital delivered quite an election result today.
Expert analysis.
The million-dollar question today is how to stop this dance of death.
Ground reports.
I'm standing at the crossroad of the Kumbh Mela. Behind me are more than 100 entry ghats.
Long-form interviews.
Exclusionary politics is reflected in Manipur case as well. You don't bother because this is a small state.
Deep dive into burning issues.
It's often said DRC could be the richest country in the whole world. It's because of what sits underneath.
Why exactly did the US topple the Sheikh Hasina government?
HT videos. We don't just break news, we break it down.